Yo, what is up, guys?
Hey,
Gonzalo
what's
Roberto
good? What's
aquí.
good? What's good? What's good?
Uh,
I'm here with Leet Pete, Gonzalo Roberto here. We're actually gonna introduce ourselves. Peter, I'm gonna let you go first.
what's up, everyone? My name is Peter. I go to Emory. I've known Gonzalo for a super long time now, since undergrad of college. I'm studying physical therapy right now, and we both did the personal training. We both started like doing this like weightlifting thing about the same time back when we were living in Orlando. But yeah, we're here today. We have a video for you. The most common mistakes we see beginners make. But yeah, dude, you can talk about a little bit about your experiences, because I'm sure I'm going to be putting this on my page and no one probably has any idea who you are. So
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be
yeah,
for both of us. My name is Gonzalo. I'm actually Bolivian. Moved to the States when I was 15. Met Peter when I was in UCF down in Florida. That's where we actually got a connection. We started, doing this whole lifting thing. I had no idea about this whole world until I little by little got into it. Realized that it's, in order to transform my body, I needed to really switch my lifestyle 360. So that's where, Peter and I have been little by little doing research, really seeing different YouTubes. And we actually ultimately want to come with this, type of podcast where we're going to really talk about issues that happened to us when we first started. Now, experience wise, I've been in the field for 5+ years. I'm a NASM certified personal trainer. I also have my fitness nutrition specialist.
you got one of the special certifications, like post like certified personal trainer. So they have like specializations that you can take. You went one step above.
Yeah,
And
so I
take
have
your
my
specialization test.
yeah, I've been certified through NASM, which is the National Academy of Sports Medicine. I'm a certified personal trainer, and I also got my fitness nutrition specialization within that field. I've competed two times so far. Last time I got second in my division. So yeah, we pretty much been in the industry for quite some time, and definitely have some great tips for anyone that wants to follow these steps.
Yeah, I
Um,
definitely think like these will be good for people to listen to, and hear what we both have to say, because we both trained many people and have like put what we've tested on ourselves to test on other people. So we kind of have a little bit of an idea of what's going on. I wouldn't say we're advanced lifters. We haven't been in the game for a decade, but we do have enough knowledge to, and both are certified to kind of get you guys going in the right direction here. But yeah, you
Absolutely,
want
and
to
this is
yeah.
something like a very, very important time in your life. So, like, if you want to decide that you want to embark in this journey, right? Your first couple years are the ones that are actually gonna set you up, for the future. Thinking back when I first started lifting, I had no idea what the fuck I was doing, dude. I didn't have any guides in the gym, so having something like this is really gonna be powerful to any beginner ones. So
Yeah,
let's
I
go ahead
agree.
and jump right into it, dude. We have a
Um,
question.
Yeah, you wanna present the question? I guess I can go first and talk about what I think. I'm really curious to see what you think, because we haven't talked about this yet.
Really, we
I know
really
we
haven't.
bounced the idea off each other, but like I'm really excited to hear what you have to say.
Yeah,
So I don't
absolutely.
I don't know. I wonder if it's the same or if it'll be a little different. But I think both ways we can give people an idea. I mean, in the first year, I mean, some people, like if you do it right, you can really gain up to like 20 pounds of lean muscle, and
Absolutely.
that's in 1 year.
And
If
you
you do
also
it
got to think about
right,
how like your beginner years are never going to come back, right? If you
yeah.
don't do it the right way, you're losing on so
Yeah,
many
you're
potential
wasting your
gains,
time,
bro.
and
Like,
yeah, that's the hard part. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I did not play my cards right.
oh, absolutely, me
I
neither.
didn't, yeah, so that's why we're kind of making this video. I think I wasted the first probably year and a half until I got. Yeah, so the most common mistakes beginners make. Let's see. I think for me, I think at least for what I've seen in general, I think people are really scared of like the big compound movements. I think most beginners want to go to the gym and they're like, oh, I want to hit arms twice, 3 times a week. I want my arms to get bigger. But I think in reality, I think most people should be doing like a more minimalistic approach and just learning how to get good at deadlifting, squatting, and benching. I think if you just do those 3 movements as a beginner and forget about all the accessory arm work you will get better results if you just have a stronger bench press. Like the bench transfers to your arms, deadlift will, like they all transfer so much more than just going into the gym and doing machines. But yeah, that's basically what I think for the most part. Like for me, I used to go into the gym, and I remember still like this was I started like high school year of my senior year of high school. So right when I transitioned into college, that was when I kind of started. I was going into the gym and doing arms like twice a week. I wish I would have gone back then, and instead of doing like the arms twice a week, I would have just gone in and done like bench, squat, and deadlift like a couple times a week. That would have definitely transferred more benefits in the long run, and I would have been a lot stronger than I am now, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Without a
If you wanna
question,
add on to that, yeah.
without a question, I definitely feel that most beginners, right? They're in a place where they really don't know what they're doing. So they're actually going to be looking around, looking for motivation, and they're going to do whatever their motivation is doing, right? So I feel like for a beginner, yes, compounds are really, really important, but taking a step further back is even more important because, you know, as a beginner, you really don't know any movements. So if you're really not familiar with, you know, the proper range of motion, if you're really not familiar of how the movement works, right, you're really gonna end up like injuring yourself because these compound movements, right, they're absolutely more than a joint gets activated while doing that, right? So they're actually really.
I just broke up with you for a second. Can you just repeat like what you last just said?
Yeah, that's fine. So like regarding the compound movements, I feel like that's a great start for any beginner to focus on. But before you can actually focus on that, you need to learn the proper movements, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, your body, you can go ahead and want to squat all you want, but if your mobility, your ankle mobility is not there, you're just going to end up like injuring yourself, right? And which is actually what happened to myself, right? I was doing the big compounds, right? Squats, bench press, deadlift. My form wasn't all that, and I didn't have any guidance that was telling me, hey, you should do it this way, right? I was just seeing people online, and I wasn't even recording myself to see how I did the movement. So it really, really ended up as a freaking injury, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I've been like, you know, dragging this injury for so many years, and which is why my legs are not as fully developed as they should be. So if anything, yes, you know, looking at a compound is great, but definitely do your homework before you even do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely want to make sure that you're doing these movements correctly. You need to basically be an expert at this movement before you move on to other things. Like, you should be starting free weight if you can, and make sure that, like, you know, you're moving at each joint correctly, or you're going to end up having issues where you're going to get injured on these lifts.
Absolutely. And, you know, like, something even to add to that is, like, after you learn the movements, make sure that your body can actually move accordingly, right?
Yeah,
this is something that I've never done myself. I never did a body screening to see what muscles and what other muscles need to work first, right? My experience, I've worked with, like, you know, clients fairly, like, you know, not fit at all. Like, people that are walking in the gym for the first time in their whole lives, right? So the main thing we want to focus with these people is first we got to find out how do we need to, you know, build that base that you talked about in order for them to start, you know, getting more advanced. So absolutely the best thing that we want to do is make sure to do a screen assessment to see how your body is moving, because top to bottoms are linked. I'm sure, you know, you can add so much to this because that's what you're actually focusing on at your school.
Think if you can get in some kind of assessment with someone who knows what they're doing, and they can at least put you in the right context, because yeah, you can watch a video on YouTube, but it's not going to transfer to you when you're actually doing the movement. And if you really want to get good at these movements, you really kind of want to get cues from someone who knows what they're doing. I think that would definitely be the most ideal situation to go about it. Like, I wish I had someone who was really there to guide me through it at the time. We both had to kind of learn it on our own.
Absolutely.
With the NASM certification, they had their model, which is the first stage is like, you know, you're building from the ground up, you're doing mobility things, trying to get the joints working right. But then eventually you want to get to that strength phase where you're focusing on the bench, the deadlift, and the squat. I think that's really the big thing for beginners, because you can add weight every time you go to the gym once you get the movement down.
Absolutely.
And it's crazy to see what some beginners are able to do if they're under the right supervision.
Oh, it's insane, man.
And it makes me jealous, man.
So far, we've kind of covered half of the equation, right? The way I like to look at it is exercise, right, plus nutrition, plus recovery will give you the results that we want, right? So we talked about exercising, learning the proper movements, making sure that your body is moving correctly, so that way you can start focusing on a compound movement, so that way you get more advanced, right? Then, after you focus on here, what's our next step with our nutrition?
So let's see. For a beginner, I think really, I mean, when you're first starting to get in the gym, I don't think you need to be like tracking everything, counting everything. It's really just trying to start making little changes. I think a lot of beginners they go like 150% into it for like 2 weeks and then they burn out. I think like you need to add just one step slowly at a time, and eventually you'll be like on the go. Like you'll understand where everything is going. But yeah, I think nutrition is definitely a big part too. Especially, I mean, you can't really out train a bad diet.
Absolutely
So
not.
like if you're really like eating really bad, it's like nothing's really gonna help you at that point. It's just like really learning the different food options. Like you don't have to be crazy about it. You can still enjoy yourself a little bit, but like you want to start kind of cutting things down and getting more of like a routine that you can follow. Learn what's best for you. Learn about the different diets. Learn about everything that's out there and find kind of what works for you.
What I like to speak on is like almost in my experience, because these are the things that I've done in the past that I definitely would not have done if I knew whatever I know now, right? So the
Like
main
certain
thing
diets.
for me was the conflict of interest that almost everyone have, right? I want to up my strength, but I also want to get shredded, right?
Yeah.
So these two are literally the biggest ones, and 99% of the people I hear at the gym, right, that really don't have a good grasp of what's nutrition and exercise selection, they think that you can, as a beginner, you can also, gain a little bit of muscle while cutting a little bit of fat, which is actually true. Like during your beginner phase, you can definitely do that. But the more advanced you get, right, the law of diminishing returns start hitting even more and more and more, where it's going to be super hard to gain whatever you did in the beginning.
Definitely, yeah, for sure. Which is why I kind of did a whole calorie surplus thing for a while. And
That's the best thing you could have done, because I focused in the beginning get shredded, right? Because everyone wants to have that six-pack.
That's what I did too for too long.
Right?
Like, I didn't have the muscle to really support that, so I ended up losing all the weight and looking like shit, honestly, because I had no muscle. I was just completely skinny at that point. So then I had to build from there.
Right.
Which is kind of where I went. That was within the first year. I still remember. I have pictures. I probably upload them eventually. But that first year, I broke my foot, dropped like 30, 40 pounds, and had no muscle. So I looked weird. I looked kind of weird.
So this is great for every listener that's just starting to get into the gym, like that kind of wants to get bigger but also wants to stay shredded, right? The best advice that I would give myself back when I was first starting, right, was to just not worry about getting shredded, man. Literally, like, I feel like I've lost in so many gains just for the fact that I wanted to have abs.
Yeah,
right?
I can agree with that for sure.
And I feel like that's like everyone that wants to join the gym wants six packs, right? But they also want bigger arms. They also want bigger legs, bigger everything. But, it's a conflict of interest because you're talking about two different worlds, right?
Yeah. And this stuff takes time, too. You can't just go in like, hey, I'm going to change in 6 months. You really got to be at it for a few years. And yeah, the first year you can make the most drastic changes, but after that it gets harder and harder.
Yeah, I mean, talk about the law of diminishing returns. Like, that shit's just real, man. Especially once you have a couple years on your belt. So yeah, bro, if you're a beginner, dude, don't worry about getting shredded. Worry about getting actually whole, foods, actually. Don't worry about supplements or any of that.
Yeah,
try to get like actual food in.
Definitely, I think we should definitely give a supplement one. I think that would be a lot of fun for people to hear what we tried and what we've gone through in the last few years, because it's always changing. There's always new supplements coming out, and it's kind of just the same old industry.
Let me tell you guys, like, if you're listening to this and you like supplements, you're really gonna be surprised of what we have to say about all this supplement industry. It's actually, a great second video that we can potentially do.
Yeah, as a beginner, don't really worry about the supplements. Really worry about just eating. I think
I feel like the main thing is to hit your protein, right? Hit your protein. Yeah. That's the main thing that not a lot of people do. Literally, almost 99% of the people I talk at the gym, they don't eat enough protein, right? So, as a kind of a rule of thumb, right, if you're a beginner, kind of give you some sort of, base, you want to up your protein at about 1 gram per pound, right? If you're not too overweight, if your body fat is not above 25%, definitely get the gram per pound, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, man, I think anything else you want to add on? you want to highlight everything we kind of talked about here?
Absolutely. So far we've covered the exercise, the nutrition, which is going to bring us to recovery, right? So everything is interconnected, everything built off each other, and to be able to get the results, you need to make sure that you're covering all these areas, right? So we talked about eating enough protein. That's going to actually help your body. God damn. I'm getting a lot of texts. Sorry about that. Let me not lose my train of thought. The food that we're going to be eating have to make sure that, one, is going to help you recover for the next workout that you're doing, right? So if you're not eating properly, one, you're missing out on some gains, and two, you're not setting yourself up for success in the next workout because your body's going to be tired and not going to be well recovered, and you're not going to work out the same, right? So it brings us right into this recovery thing, which not a lot of people take into account, right? Definitely our foods are the main thing that's going to make you recover. If you think of a car, right, gasoline is like the food that we eat. It makes us, stay alive and all that. What else would you recommend people in terms of recovery that you wish you knew that before when you first started?
For sure, like the dive, because that's your fuel. Sleep, you really want to try and sleep, but if you can get 8 hours, that would be ideal. I know most people are 6 to 8. But I think, just going back to the main points, we've pretty much covered a lot. I think really mostly just trying to make sure that you can get these compound movements in. Make sure you're doing them right. Like, you don't want to get yourself under a bar until you functionally are able to handle the weight on your back with proper form.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason to begin adding weight if you can't even squat to parallel.
Yes, absolutely, completely agree.
So, making sure you're learning those movements right before you start doing accessory stuff. And, that's basically it, man. I feel like we pretty much had the same kind of idea. So it wasn't, I thought you were going to have something completely different, but, no, we pretty much kind of, I'm, right there with you.
And here's the thing, man. This thing is sort of basic, right? Everything falls down to this equation: nutrition, exercise, and recovery. Literally, all you want to do is, make sure if you have this balanced, you're going to get the results that you want. Simple as that, bro. And literally takes time. It takes years. Don't freaking look at that dude that's doing, Instagram, his transformation. That's not true.
Most of them are fake, but we're definitely gonna do more stuff like this. I'm gonna leave his page down in the comments. Definitely go check out his page. He puts a lot of good stuff out. But I think we're going to start doing more of these. Is there anything you want to say, man, before we cut this?
Yeah, besides that, people definitely go follow Lit Pete. You're actually getting really, really good content and mobility and, behind the scenes of what physical therapy actually looks like. So I feel like everyone's going to really, really enjoy your content, and they're actually going to learn more than anything. But other than that, dude, it was a pretty, cool, just kind of quick podcast that we're trying to do.
Man,
we're trying to do this, tell you what you need when you're first starting. Literally made so many mistakes. We want to make sure to give all the information on a silver platter, so that way you can take it and actually get some gains. But yeah, dude.
Yeah, if you're still listening here, drop a like.
Yeah. Thumbs it up.
Until next time.
All right, dude.